We'll call the Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, February 16, 2016 to order. And please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Move on to weekly briefing. And Chris, I know we had a water break, if you will, due to the cold weather at the community center this weekend. I also heard there was one at the high school, and maybe some others around town. I don't know, but could you give us, what was going on at the community center?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. At 5 p.m. on Sunday, which would have been Valentine's evening, a pipe that led to a sprinkler head in kind of a remote area of the building froze and gave way. I do wish to just thank publicly the fire department responded within about 10 minutes and shut off the water. However, the way those systems are designed, they're designed to pump out an awful lot of water in a short amount of time. So we did have an extensive amount of water that went throughout the facility. As of this morning, the weight room, the multi-purpose room, and the kitchen were closed all day today. Most likely will be closed for the next couple days at least. And then the phone system was down, and the phone system was brought back online today. Just so people are aware too, I just want to thank Sean Libby came in and he was coordinating the effort. He had a cleanup crew there to start to vacuum up the water, and Carolyn stayed to also help in the cleanup effort. So because they had the cleanup effort so quickly, I think that's going to help to remediate some of the potential damage. In those situations, it's really the mold, having the water stay too long in the sheetrock that causes a lot of the issues. So being on top of that in a quick fashion, I thought was good. They did contact me Sunday night. I was able to get a hold of the insurance company. We reported it to the insurance company. They appreciated the efforts for us to clean up initially, and they were out this morning to do an assessment and get a initial read on it. So in terms of, it should be hopefully a covered claim, so whatever costs we have affiliated with it should come from the insurance coverage. So that's kind of where we are. We are going to try to put some signboards up. I know I was there and a few folks came in to use the weight room. The weight room really got the brunt of it, so that's something that if you are using the weights, please realize that that room's going to be closed for a little bit. And we're trying to dry out the areas and begin the remediation work, or continue the remediation
So
work.
is Sean and Company doing the repairs, or is some outside firm going to do the repairs?
We hired an outside firm to do some of the big fans to kind of dry it out, and then obviously the sheetrock. Sean did have a couple of his folks down there, and the custodians were there. So the work that's able to be done by staff in-house, we're doing. Any work that needs to be done out, then he'll coordinate that effort.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Thanks, and as you said, thank you to Sean and his crew and the fire department for responding, et cetera.
Yeah, within 10 minutes is great, because if it was longer.
Yeah, imagine it was overnight or something.
Yeah.
Good thing they're alarmed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else for weekly briefing? Move on to public comments or announcements. Anybody? Okay, consent agenda. Jannell, would you make that for us, please?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes from January 19th, 2016 regular meeting, January 25th, 2016 regular meeting, February 1st, 2016 executive session, and February 10th, 2016 executive session.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Thank you. Move on to public hearings and presentations, and the first is a public hearing on a liquor license application. Jannell, could I get you to read the notice of public hearing?
Yep.
You have it, or do you need it?
Oh, I got it right here. Notice of public hearing, Town of Harwich, Board of Selectmen application for liquor license. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the General Laws. As amended, that application has been made to this board for a seasonal common victular all alcoholic beverages license for MT Group LLC, DBA Mad Minnow Bar and Kitchen. Michael Strangefield, manager, on the following described premises located at 554 Route 28, Harwichport. Single-story, multi-use building, backside first floor to be licensed. 2 rooms, kitchen and dining room, including bar area. 2 bathrooms, 2 entrances, 3 exits, 2,137 square feet. Outdoor patio, 1,920 square feet. Basement for storage, 300 square feet. Total square feet, 4,357. The Board of Selectmen will hold a hearing upon the application on Tuesday, February 16th, 2016, no earlier than 6:30 PM in the Don B. Griffin Room at Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, at which time all interested parties will be heard. Board of Selectmen, Local Licensing Authority.
Thank you. So we'll open the public hearing. And Chris, I assume all the documentation is in order, I believe?
Yes, and I believe the police department did weigh in, and they had no objections to the application going forward.
Okay, is the applicant here? Okay, you want to just introduce yourself, and we have all your documentation here. Michael?
Michael.
Okay, and we'd like to just understand, welcome you first of all, and then just understand the nature of your business and how you plan to operate it and those types of things.
Well, thank you for seeing
Yeah,
us.
and you need to, you're tall, you need to speak in that mic somehow, just so the folks at home can see you and hear you.
Thank you for seeing us, first of all. We're looking to open hopefully sometime in May. My business partner, Tony, has a restaurant in Chatham currently, the Blue Coral. It's been there 15 years now. We're looking for kind of a higher-end bar food style. We'd like to do Cape Cod cuisine, but done as thoughtfully and locally sourced as possible, utilizing local farms, purveyors, things of that nature, but stick to what people want here. Our goal in the space is not just for profit, it's just to enjoy the whole thing. And we have young kids, we want to bring them up around here, and I think that's kind of all we have about it.
Okay, and you do plan to use the outside area called the patio that exists in the back?
Yep. We have a designer working on it currently. My father, I'm lucky to have him. He's a landscape designer. Been doing it for 40 some odd years. Was director of mass horticulture for a number of years. He was director of sales and marketing at Weston Nurseries for 38 years. He designed some of Steven Tyler's house. So he knows what he's doing, and he's putting that work on our patio there.
Okay, so right now, because I remember this, because when the last applicant came in for that same space, we get into I just call it the outside, the patio in the back. And I remember they put the fence in along one section, and they put some shrubs or whatever, plantings in the back.
Yeah.
Are you gonna keep that fence? Are you gonna enhance the fence? I mean,
So basically our plan, we have approximately a $15,000 budget for outside. We'd like to install a bluestone patio, including a fire pit. We'll put a grassy area on the far side closest to where the dumpsters are. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that parking lot there. We have a design too. I'd be happy to show you. I can drop it up another time, but we'd like to put an arbor up on the back side. That fence we would certainly like to enhance. I think that was done, it was done for sound blockage. We saw the minutes of last year's hearing for Andale, and I know that was for sound. We'd like to install a fence all the way around the restaurant. We think for a number of reasons, but aesthetics certainly one of them, the pleasure of our diners' experience, one of them, sound, of course, one of them. We'd like to install, I think our budget for plantings is about $1,500, so we're looking to enhance all the plantings around there, and as we know, that does it does muffle sound quite a bit, of course, and enhancing the aesthetics there as well. But we'd like
so when you say all around, you just mean all around the patio area? Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so you got a parking lot on
The
it.
fence that's existing, we'll kind of continue it in a different fashion. It will be, I believe we have a 4 to 6 foot full fence continued by lattice for another 2.5 feet. So it's known that we're there, but that when someone pulls in with their car, that it's not shining on the diners outside.
Okay, and would a patron be walking through a gate again, or is it just gonna be open?
It will be open.
Okay. The picture we have, which is the sketch that was submitted with your
Yes,
application?
yeah, that's the one current.
In that patio area shows 6 tables. Is it just a depiction, or is that what you're going to have?
There are 4 tables. 2 of those tables are movable tables. I think it says 1 and 2 inside tables on that sketch.
Okay.
Right.
We
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
we're
yeah.
licensed for 60 seats.
Yep.
And we want the ability, if it's a beautiful sunny day, to take 2 of our inside tables and bring them outside. So we're allowing the space for those tables, but not overseating by any means. So
Okay.
we'll have 4 relatively permanent tables there with the option for 2 more.
Okay, and your hours of operation, do you know what they're going to be, or?
We're open, we're hoping to open lunch and dinner 7 days a week. We would like a 1 o'clock liquor license. We would most likely be open from 11 a.m. Through dictated business.
In
So-
closing, at what time, do you think?
Through dictated to start, I think. It depends on what business is like in town. Well, I think we'll make that decision when we get there. We'd like to stay open as late as possible and as late as the town will enjoy.
Okay. A separate topic would be, and I assume at some point you may be coming before us with an entertainment license application. I don't know what your plans are for that, but you may just want to give us a glimpse of what that might be,
Certainly.
if there is any.
Yeah, we want it to be an enjoyable place to be. We don't want to be music-centric by any means. We do know that this town on Wednesdays is a music town, so we want to embrace that. I think that's an incredible thing. So in terms of live, if we do any, we would like it to be on the quieter side. Tony and I, my wife, we enjoy, little jazz trios and things of that nature, acoustic guitar, just pleasant music, something that would be pleasant for a diner, not going to a concert by any means.
Okay. All right. Questions from the board? Linda?
I think we need to be a little more specific on a closing date, closing time. Also, the outside patio, knowing that there are residences in the area, when would you stop serving outside?
We're hoping for 11 o'clock. We think that the evening in town is a great thing. We're hoping for 11 o'clock. But we also know that there was a 10 o'clock agenda at some point throughout the town that most of the other restaurants do have a 10, so we will certainly abide by whatever is dictated throughout the town. We're happy to be there.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. Yeah, come on up and identify yourself and tell us who you are and where you live, and then all those kind of good things. And tilt the mic down a little bit. You're a little shorter. Thank you.
Hi, my name's
Hello.
Ralph Swartz. I'm the operations director for the Harwich Port Resort Club,
Okay.
which is in a butter of 554. We are at 558, and it is a timeshare operation. There are 27 units. I'm from Centerville, Massachusetts, excuse me,
It's okay.
and we've been managing the club for 30 years for the Board of Trustees. My company is a spokesperson for the board at this meeting. We have a manager, his name is Rick Taboyka, who's also been with us for 30 years. There are 1,080 owners, weeks available at the Harwich Port Resort Club. Our season starts mid-March and ends the end of November. It's residential, strictly residential.
Mhm.
We do not rent out. Those are its owners. Everybody who stays there is either an owner or a guest of an owner, and is a taxpayer of the town. May I?
Yes, please. We're here to collect
When
comments.
I did send a letter to the board. I don't know whether you received it or not.
Yep.
It was basically almost a copy of a letter that I sent 3 years ago
Mhm.
when the Andali opened up. And at that time, there were very specific issues that were brought up both here and in the planning board about the type of trees, et cetera, that were going to be used and how high they were going to be and how they were going to be planted. And quite frankly, a really half-baked job was done on those plans. Wasn't followed up, and most of the trees died. So those trees are gone. The trees that were going to be a border between the dumpster area and our parking lot. We also, I'm not casting dispersions on you folks because obviously we don't know you. We're just telling you know what has happened in the past. Our biggest concern is, of course, the outside entertainment and service in the outdoor sections of the new restaurant. When a transfer of license was granted to the last licensee, it was made very specific that there would be no outdoor service nor or entertainment after 10 o'clock at night. That was, that was also agreed upon by the Harwich Port Resort Club and the owners of the business prior to the meeting to grant the transfer took place. We obviously are not privy to any of the design work that has been supplied by the new owners, so we don't really know what they're talking about. I am a little bit concerned about the statement that they're going to move some service area closer to the dumpsters, which brings that service area beyond the current service area of the previous restaurant. I think that we, if possible, would like to see a much more specific how many seats, not moving seats in and out, what time you're going to close, and we'd like to have the same 10 o'clock closing of outdoor service and outdoor entertainment. And we'd like to know, what kind of commotion we're going to have to communicate to our owners prior to them coming to the resort. It was not a very good experience with the previous owners of Undali. And we had other issues that I'm not going to bring up here because they're just anticipatory and wouldn't be fair to the new owners. But we really would like to see the plans and or at least have you be familiar with and approve the plans for the outdoor service and the outdoor entertainment and the outdoor sound and visual buffering, so that you would feel comfortable with it, because obviously we don't have a say of what is going to take place in the town. We're just trying to tell you what we would like to see take place in the town.
Sure. I can tell you that with their application, which is available, it's public information online, I'll call it a sketch of that area, the patio area, I'll call it, and also a sketch of the indoor arrangement of the facility. So that information definitely is available. From what I can tell on the outside, they would propose to stay within the confines of what's there now. In other words, they're not digging up the parking lot to make it any bigger.
Right. There's a sunken patio there.
Right, and I think from what I can tell, it looks like they're staying within those confines, near as I can tell.
But there should be not there should be, but it would behoove us anyway to have a set number of seats, rather than having them have the ability to increase it when they feel like it, as long as they don't increase the total seating of the entire operation, which means they could move everything outside.
Right, what's shown on here, on the sketch, are 4 tables that look like permanent tables, and then 2 that, if I read this right, are called internal tables that they would move outside in those instances where
Okay.
they need it. So there'd be a total of 6 tables, from what I can tell.
Max, that would be a split. So that is specific it's specific enough in your eyes, and that's all we're asking.
That's specific in the application.
Right.
I'm just telling you the information that's here. We haven't acted on it yet,
Okay.
so I mean, that's what's here, okay? Let me ask the question, though, because I drove down there today, and, some of the fences sort of fallen over and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. But what I would call either shrubs or bushes that are on your boundary, are those yours, or were those planted by Andale before?
Those are all underlays. Well, they were planted originally by the Dr. Fennell and his group.
And are those dead, or do they bloom in them?
Those are bloom. They're forsythia.
Okay,
Those
so,
will bloom up until the dumpster area, and then everything that was planted from the dumpster going south, is it? Going north,
north,
is died.
beyond the dumpster.
Right. No, in front of and beyond the dumpster.
When you say in front of, you mean
And
that piece that separates you from the
yes,
dumpster?
exactly.
I understand.
Right.
Okay.
The fence is ours.
So along the lot line, is what you're
Right.
saying, at the dumpster location, from their back, they planted something that didn't work.
Right. We put up the split rail fence between the property.
Yeah.
just to stop cross-traffic.
Yep,
We had to revisit the fencing around the dumpster area, and the dumpster area was never maintained. So we had some problems.
I understand. And do I understand correctly, or let me ask the question,
Sure.
is there any access through that fence for your owners to come through and go to the restaurant, or they have to walk down?
No, there's a small walk-through access that you've got to go one at a time through. We didn't want to totally block
Okay.
access
So
for a
you're-
number of reasons.
So your folks can actually, if they want to, walk through there.
Sure, anybody
to
can walk
go
through
to
there.
this restaurant or any other place.
That's
go to
right.
the Chamber of Commerce, whatever,
Right.
the bank. Okay. That kind of thing. I mean, you guys got to be neighbors. You are neighbors.
Right.
These are new neighbors moving in. I don't think they've met you before. It'd be nice tonight if you guys all meet each other and start changing some information, I would guess.
For your information.
Yep.
And it probably doesn't matter. I was in the hotel and restaurant business for 40 years, and I managed hotels and restaurants from 2,000 rooms in Dubai to 50 rooms on Cape Cod. So I have got experience in all of this, and I understand the problems and the issues as well as the opportunities. And I think there is a great opportunity for a well-run operation on that property.
And at the moment, I have no doubt that they intend to have a well-run operation. What I'd like to see happen is the opportunity where if there's an issue going forward, that you feel very comfortable going to them and saying, hey, here's my issue, how can we resolve it?
Well,
Shaking their
that would
heads
be
like
great. It
yes.
would be different, and it would be great.
Well, I think they're coming to town with the intent of trying to be, a good citizen,
Right.
I think. I mean, I don't know these people, but I do know the restaurant in Chatham, and I don't think there's any issues with the restaurant in Chatham that I know of, and I think it's a well-run business, so.
We will make every effort to have our manager and myself, and we will cross-market with our owners and guests.
Sure.
And we want it to be one big happy family. We just want them to be able to
Okay.
quiet down after 10 o'clock at night, that's all.
Okay, and I think that's part of the discussion here. The previous license was to basically cease and desist. I'll just say that at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming, with the exception of on delay and some of the operational issues, that the 10 o'clock part of it worked okay for
Great.
you. I don't know.
great.
So,
Yeah, there was no problem with the noise. Well, they didn't do any business, so there was no problem.
no, I understand. This hopefully is going to be a successful place
Yes.
where people want to go to.
Right.
And it'd be a good addition to that area of town.
It would be great.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Yeah. All right, Linda, do you have a question?
Well, just that hopefully you will have a conversation and get to know these people, and everybody will be good neighbors. However, if you do have issues, please come back to us.
Oh, we're not shy.
But if you have issues and things that can't be resolved on either side,
On either side, correct.
please come back to us, come to our town administrator's department, because we would really not want to have issues
No.
continue.
No, we'll be neighbors.
And if there is something that is bothering either side, anybody in the area, if you don't bring it up, we don't know it's an issue.
Exactly,
You know.
exactly.
So,
Everybody's been, in the town has been very helpful, and in other businesses around the area have been, we've been getting along fine for 30 years.
all right, anybody else? You all set? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. You all set?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
All right,
I
thank you.
appreciate
Thanks for your
your hearing
comments.
me.
I appreciate it, yeah. Anybody else? Jeremy?
Jeremy Gingras, the Executive Director of the Harwich Chamber of Commerce, and I don't know if you'd call us the abutter, but we're the building on the adjacent opposite side. And just wanted to quickly, because this board's asked about basically some of the character. As soon as the Mad Minnow came to town, as far as I'm concerned, they've done everything right. They've they reached out to us. We talked to them about business plan, what works, what didn't work. They put a lot of research into it. They've figured out the target market, the area. They've been very receptive to ideas, asked questions along the way, and I think I'm not only encouraged but enthusiastic about the change in the restaurant in the area, and I think it'll be a great addition to the town.
Thank you. Yes, sir, come on up.
Carl Johnson from Cranberry Jewelers.
How are you, Carl?
Good. And I'm here as a business owner in town in Harwichport, and been there 19 years. And I've met these folks, especially Tony, and talked to him about his business. I've been in his new place. He's working hard every day. He's putting a lot of sweat equity in the place, and it looks like it's going to be a great addition to our town and our business area. And I would encourage you to pass this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Could I just ask, do we know on other liquor licenses like Hot Stove, what their limitations are on time? Do we know?
Yeah, I was actually looking to see if we had any materials. We don't have that material in the package, but certainly we can have it where it's the same as Hot Stove if you want to do it that way. We can just verify the information after, and if there's an issue, come back.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe they're two pieces. The liquor license is one piece,
Entertainment is.
and the entertainment is another piece.
Well, we only have liquor license
Yep,
in front of us
right.
tonight, so that's what we need to
Yep.
focus on. The restriction on time, certainly, on the entertainment is definitely a topic to bring up, so. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'll ask the board what their pleasure is. I want to make a motion.
Close to me.
I'll close the public hearing, yeah, if we're done with that, so.
Mr. Chair, I move
No.
that we accept the application for a seasonal common victular all-alcoholic beverages license for MT Group LLC, DBA Mad Minnow Bar and Kitchen.
Second.
So it's moved and seconded to approve the license, liquor license application. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, it's a vote. Keep us posted, okay? When do you, if I just ask, when do you think you'll be coming back with some form of entertainment license? Before you open, I trust? I mean, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, and be good neighbors, I know you will be. There you go, yeah, yeah. Maybe make that gate a little wider coming between the two places so they can get through there, so. Thank you, and welcome to Harwich, yep. Okay, next is, we all know recently, is Alan here? Oh, there he is, Alan. How are you, Alan? We were able to come to a successful conclusion on the acquisition of property, the Hall property, to complete our, I'll just call it link, if you will, around the reservoir at Bell's Neck, which is great. So
Yes.
Michael's got some props here he wants to share with us. You practice this, Michael? Make sure you get it right side up.
Due north.
Can you turn it? We don't have much of an audience, so you can make it more this way. Yeah, there you go. Okay, all right.
I had a clear room.
That's good, thank you.
Good
Well, thank
evening.
you for having me on the agenda tonight for
Our
our
pleasure.
request. As you spoke before, and the groups before us, it's good to be good neighbors. And we've been good neighbors with the town of Harwich on this piece of property that I'm going to talk about here. This piece of property that we have here on the map, it shows several different colors, pink, orange, yellow. The pink roads, first of all, the property is 184 acres and is owned by the town of Harwich. It's known as the Harwich Conservation Area, Bell's Neck. It encompasses off of Bell's Neck Road, from Depot Street, North Harwich, from North Road, and from Great Western Road. The reservoir that's located in the middle of the property is 75 acres in size. That reservoir was put in place in 1925 by Marcus L. Uran. Marcus L. Uran was the founder of Ocean Spray Cranberry Company. That parcel of land that encompasses 184 acres, Marcus L. Uran was really the person that bought up all these lands to put into United Cape Cod Cranberry Company at that time, because cranberries were so vital in the town of Harwich, and it was a fluid business that kept on growing and shrinking and growing. But he had the vision to put all this property together. So I'd like to give commends to Marcus L. Uran, the founder of Ocean Spray, for putting this property together back in the 1920s and worked his way on up. In the 1957, my grandfather, John Emilus Hall, bought that entire property from United Cape Cod Cranberry Company. And he had that property for the cranberry bogs, and he also had heron rights, and they seined heron out of where the flumes are now, that everybody goes down and enjoys. up until about 1962. Then he sold it to a man named Ralph Guider. And Ralph Guider was a developer on Cape Cod. And that's when the inception of conservation land started all across the United States, about the mid-60s. So Harwich, on the forefront and on their vision, they started in on this parcel of property, and they purchased it from Ralph Guider in, I believe, 1965-66. At that time, my grandfather, the yellow shaded area, there's 22 acres to the northwest, owned that property also. When he conveyed it to Mr. Guider, he kept all of the rights in all those highlighted roads all to his property to the northwest, which is now our land. My grandfather passed away 10 years ago. And in the title research and doing good housekeeping, we found that we had explicit rights, deeded rights, land-coded rights, the benefits of rights over all of the town's land, 184 acres. Well, being good neighbors and being good citizens of the town of Harwich and being local folks here for 14 generations, my father, my brothers, we thought that it would be in our best interest and it would be the best part for the town is to release our rights over the town's land as a donation. Reason for that is a couple things. It's the right thing to do. We're good neighbors, we're good citizens of the town. We enjoy that property, we know the history of the property, we know it was bought and purchased for conservation. If we were to sell our land to somebody else, this would follow in title. And if you were to break up 22 acres in the 22 house lots, that would mean 22 people would have the same rights over 184 acres. So the value is significant for the town of Harwich to get the Hall's easement released. Now, the town of Harwich did not acquire this. They did not purchase this. This was done by a donation of our family to the town of Harwich to release it as the right thing to do for the future. Because through land title, land court, land deeds, references, all those easements can be a burden. And so, as I said, it's the right thing to do. I represent my father, Arthur H. Hall Sr., who can't be here tonight, and I have one older brother, Arthur Jr., and a younger brother, Aaron. I'm the only one here tonight due to the weather and everybody's busy. However, the presentation is just that we are releasing our easement rights over the 184 acres of the town of Harwich land. It's quite a historical part for the town. It's a beautiful piece of property. I've grown up there. That's where I grew up. All our families grew up on Depot Street. We've been there and we'll die on Depot Street, the cemetery. So it's just, it's the right thing to do, and it's something that the town should cherish. And also, it's in line with the town's management plan that the conservation put together 5 years ago. And in section 5.0 of the management goals and environmental impacts on page 13, they talked about closing down those ways and those traveled ways to only foot traffic. You know, if I didn't give these rights up, I could go in there with a bulldozer and open them up and this and that, but that's not what we want to do. We want to be good neighbors. So it's in line with what the town's management plan is of that property for the future of the town, and that's what we want to do.
Well, you know, on behalf of all the folks of Harwich, and particularly this board, we certainly thank you and your family for doing that. I do know that, you know, in the last couple of years, you've been the main go-between, you know, negotiating with the town and you know, trying to get your relatives, I'll just say that, particularly your dad, comfortable and happy. I think we're all really thrilled that it came to a successful conclusion, and this is just one more reason why, you know, we're glad this was done. So we thank you and your family very much. We appreciate it. You certainly are a credit, you know, to this community, and you know, hopefully we'll have some signage out there through the conservation folks that identify the fact that you know, that your family, you know, had these rights and they conveyed them to the town. So thank you very much. I appreciate
Well,
it.
that would be very nice. Yeah, we would enjoy that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know your dad would enjoy it.
Yeah. And my grandfather, John E. Hall, you know, he was a hard man. He was
Yeah.
born and raised in North Harwich, but He probably wouldn't agree with this right now, but, you know, but it's the right thing to do, and I think when he looked at it, he would probably say, yes, it is.
Well, I
It's the
just
right
think of it, because of him, you're here, right? So,
Right, exactly.
okay.
But also, Michael Locke should be recognized in this too, because prior to this accusation of the purchase, and then now this donated release of easements, Michael's been working behind the scenes for 15, 16 years with my grandfather and myself, and, you know, trying to work out negotiation tactics on the town wanted the whole parcel of ours, 22 acres, but now we settled on 4.1 acres.
Right.
But it's Howard's Conservation Trust, Michael Locke, all of his members there, and everybody working, and again, doing the right thing, so.
Michael's always working behind the scenes, and every once in a while, he just pops up and says, oh, it's a done deal, we're done.
Right.
What do you mean you're done? Well, he's worked it all out, so, and he understands the whole process, Michael, and understands the value of these properties and what properties are out there and how you can get around certain situations to make it happen, all in the best interest of the town, so
Right.
we're thrilled. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, thank you.
Thank you. No, and by the way, do you have that, what you said, do you have that written down? It seems to me that
Isn't that amazing history?
yeah, that history coupled with this map is something that should go somewhere.
I would like to put that on paper, because I think people should know that.
That would be nice.
You know, one of the things that I think about, you know how you have the Howard Hall of Fame, and people don't really recognize, you know, there's a lot of instrumental people in the town of Howard that are behind the scenes, that are low, stay underneath the radar screens, but Marcus Duran was a huge figure in this town. Even though he wasn't from this town, he saved a lot of people's livelihoods and families and created jobs. He built on Depot Street, which is now the Depot Storage, that used to be the Ocean Spray Screen House.
Right.
And he built that in 1929, and he bought up several hundreds of parcels of land in and around Howard, and the West Reservoir, which is on that plan there, but then on the East Reservoir, which is on the east side of Bells Neck Road, that was also a cranberry bog.
Right.
And that got wiped out in the hurricane in 1938. But it's just amazing how much history. And my grandfather, this is one thing I will share, he said if Cape Cod, if we had bulldozers like we had today, back in the 1920s and 30s, the whole Cape would have been one big bog, because that's how large the industry was growing. And that's how lucrative it was.
Yeah.
But then he's seen 3 depressions in it too, so.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, sorry.
So let's make sure we get this written down and memorialized, please. Michael?
Thank you, members of the Board of Selectmen and Town Administrator, Assistant Town Administrator, for being here at this historic moment. Thank you, Alan, and really extend our gratitude again to your father and your mother and your brothers for this incredible donation. This is a real significant step forward in the land stewardship of the main town-owned conservation area surrounding the West Reservoir. You know, by donating those rights across those wooded cart paths, you know, you have ensured a more scenic and enjoyable experience for everyone on through time. So that's really an incredible gift for all of us. So it's just been terrific working with you and through you, your family, and also with the town. And so I thank you for your work as well as we move forward on these great efforts and projects together. So thanks.
As Alan said, it is all for the benefit of the town, so.
It is.
And it's going to be here long after all of us are gone, so that's the good part.
It is. It's
Thank you
terrific.
both.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Old business, new business. Okay, so what you have, we just, the warrant closed at noon on Friday
Correct.
for the annual town meeting. So we were, because town hall closes at noon on Friday, we're a bit late in getting this, but the warrant has been assembled, at least a draft of it, and was put in our drop boxes, and you have a hard copy of it. I don't intend to go through this tonight, but we will spend a lot of our time in the next several weeks going through this, taking votes, having discussion, bringing people in, that type of thing. So my suggestion to you is get familiar with what's in here and this will be our basis of working the warrant as we go forward. Okay, Chris, I don't know, is there anything you want to say about just the warrant in general, or? I think
I
it's
don't know if you
organized
wanted
very
me to
well, by
at
the way.
least group, you want me to just go through a little bit of a summary?
Yeah, you can
See, no.
tell us how it's organized, and
Just a couple things. I won't go through some of the traditional ones, but just in terms of, obviously, under the budget, we have a provision in there for snow and ice deficit. I think as the weather is shown, we probably will be having to appropriate some money out of free cash for snow and ice deficit. The other one I just wanted to highlight was on the, under administration, we have at number 11 and 12 right now. One of the things that came out of the process is on the capital plan. It specifically says items that are under $50,000 that the capital outlay committee doesn't really weigh in on. So what we decided to do is to take some of those smaller items and put them into item number 11 here, capital items funded from free cash. So instead of having 6 or 7 additional questions, we kind of grouped those in. And we did the same for number 12 here, the facility maintenance and repair fund. Those ones are our attempt to kind of group and see if we can consolidate. Quite a few communities do consolidation of capital items, so we're trying to do a little bit of that in this. And then we did leave some of the more traditional ones, very similar to the capital plan that I've gone over a couple times anyway. Just other items of note under water and wastewater, we do have a placeholder in there for the Chatham intermunicipal agreement. I do have under the administrator's report kind of a little bit of an update on that. And then also to enact a sewer use bylaw. The next section is the community preservation. And I did want to make sure that we did receive a little bit earlier in the week, and I think we received on Friday under the charter, zoning and Mass General Law amendments. I think that's where we have it. Oh, no, I'm sorry, private petitions. Just let me do the charter ones. A couple comments on this. I did meet with the chair of the charter committee, so they put in their report. There was 2 additional items that we wanted to have the board give some consideration to. So we have those in there. So we have the charter committee report with their amendments, and then we have a couple of additional items that we wanted to make sure made it in there. And then on the private petitions, and that was the one I was kind of alluding to earlier, we did receive a one, I believe it came in on Friday, but just a couple. We have the Ginger Plum private land road betterment, the traditional ones on the highway and promote Harwich. But then we also have to amend the charter. This is one, a citizen petition that came in to establish a charter enforcement commission. So that was a citizen petition, obviously with the 10 signatures. And then also there was one in regards to some property up in West Harwich. I think it's 95 and 97 Main Street. So a petition came in on that, restricting demolition of those parcels. And then everything else I think is fairly things that we have done traditionally in the past. So just to kind of highlight a few that were more unusual than perhaps we normally have seen. But as you alluded to, I think we have 67 in total, and so it's a fair number. And we have grouped them. I thought that the grouping that we did last year really seemed to go over pretty well, so we wanted to kind of keep that, so hopefully town meeting flows through these in a orderly manner.
yeah, it keeps it focused, you know, as we put them into categories and whatnot, it keeps things focused, so. I'm assuming we're gonna have as we traditionally do, our little spreadsheet that has our votes and whatnot on it.
Yeah, now that we have the numbers, we'll
Yeah.
start to put that together.
Yeah, okay, good. Linda?
Are we going to put this draft, I know it's not finalized, but on the website so that the community can see it? Because it wasn't part of our package,
Sure.
because
Sure.
I understand the, and
Yeah,
I
we
know
ran
that
into a
Sandy
little bit
was,
of technical issues, and we had a problem kind of getting it squared away, so it took a little bit.
right,
Yeah,
I
we
know,
just get through and finish the numbering on here.
put the numbering in.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the table of contents is numbered, but some of the articles don't have numbers on them. I think that's just because of the lateness of putting it together.
Well-
Also, in case you pulled any.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
the-
I understand.
There are a couple related to the charter. I'm drawing a blank on one of the ones. But I know one of them was something that we had put forth that I think, Angelo, you may have been to a charter committee meeting and had some discussion with them.
Oh, you're talking
What
about
is
the two alternates?
All the alternates?
That's in there.
Yeah, the concept of the alternates, that's something that kind of came up that the board really hasn't fully weighed in, so that's something that the board wants to look at. I think the board should look at.
But
And
it's
then
in here, right?
It's in here. The other one that's in there, well, I think we provided as backup material. Matt Hart, who's the chairman of the Waterways, he had presented two concepts regarding waterways. Both of those are in here. He presented two that are related to the Finance Committee. And from my recollection, when the board originally went through and had a discussion about what was going to be in for the charter and what wasn't going to be in, the board did not want to see those changes made to basically, I think they revolve around whether people can serve on the Finance Committee and serve on the capital outlay. I think that was really what he was targeting. I didn't get a sense from the board or from the Charter Committee that there was any real interest in that. And Matt did not submit a citizen's petition, so we just at least made note of that. And if the board wants to put it on, certainly the board can do that. If the board wants to keep it off, then the board can keep it off. But those are the type of things that we wanted to at least get in, so the board would have the opportunity to have some consideration on those items.
Did the, Matt also had a couple of articles relative to the harbor masters
The
situation?
waterways and the harbor masters did make it in,
Okay, that's
not
what
in
I
the
was-
exact format that
That's
Matt
fine.
was looking, but they are in there.
That's fine. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so the key here is to, all of us to take the time to read it, step back and say, is that what I really thought was gonna be in there or not?
Yeah.
And come back to know.
Just a quick question about the capital items funded from free cash.
Mhm.
Is that going to be a single vote, everything lumped together?
Yeah, actually, the way I would propose doing that is to have it be one vote that, for the total number, but what we'll do is we'll put letters next to it. So if somebody had an issue, normally what I've seen in town meeting, the moderator may read through, here's 10 items, does anyone have any issues? If someone says, I have an issue with number 6, he votes everything else, and then there's a discussion on number 6, and then we could just adjust the numbers. So that's the way that would flow.
Yeah, it's a good idea to put numbers or letters there to make it easy
It makes
as
it
to
clear.
what somebody is
So
talking
people
about,
can
very
hold,
clear.
make people hold it a little
Makes it
easier
clear.
if they desire to.
Anything else on that? Again, more to come on this?
Yep.
Okay. Town Administrator's report?
Yeah, actually, I just have a couple items. I did allude to, today I was over to the town of Chatham. What we had tried to work out with the town of Chatham, and it's been a little bit delayed, but we had what was called a technical meeting in which the two engineers got together to talk about some issues related to the IMA. Myself, Bob Duncanson, on behalf of Chatham, and then the two engineers, Dave Young for CDM. I cannot remember the gentleman's name. I think it was Jerry from on the Chatham side. So we had a discussion about peak flow and some of the different elements to make sure that we had that be looked at, so there's no issue with the 300,000 and how that would be calculated. We did have also a discussion about kind of moving forward and when are we going to get the agreement. Chatham did make a decision that they wanted to present a more complete document to us, so they have a draft of the IMA. I keep hearing about it, but I haven't seen it. So Mr. Duncanson committed to having it by the end of next week, so it is coming. Later than I would like to see it, but it is coming. We did have a discussion about some of the points, and I emphasized what Harwich had put forth, and what I thought was really kind of a tentative understanding when we had our meeting in October. And I think that we are closer to that tentative understanding, but as all these issues, there's certainly some devils in the details. So we do have the placeholder, and hopefully we'll have that by the end of next week. I would encourage the subcommittee, I know Michael's not here tonight unfortunately, but Angelo, to maybe try to have a meeting, hopefully before the end of February, if we get the IMA, to have a discussion. If not, then we'll have to figure out a schedule that kind of works when people are able to be there. I realize that there are some scheduling issues, so we will make an endeavor to do that. So I think that that's progressing, and actually I was encouraged after today's meeting that hopefully we'll be close. The other item that I wanted to at least bring up publicly, I had Dave Young and I had a discussion, and I know that the town had asked me to go over to the town of Dennis and talk about doing a potential regional agreement with the town of Dennis. I have had some discussions with my counterpart over in Dennis. He initially asked to have a little bit of a delay because he was going to engage in some activity. What that activity was he brought together the various town boards and committees and had kind of a workshop meeting of what does it mean to have a wastewater management plan, what are the components of it, how does it work. And Dave Young actually was one of the participants in that over in the town of Dennis. And they really walked away with some real positive results that the boards and committees getting together kind of create a nucleus of people that understand the issue, so when the general public comes in and asks somebody on the planning board or on the water, whatever the committee may be, that they have a better understanding. I think people in the general public assume that because you're a board or committee member on a committee, you have a better insider's knowledge, if you would, of the town. And I think in order to facilitate that and make that work, having a meeting to try to disseminate information to the various groups and to do it in a timely and controlled way. It was in the evening, they went from 6 to 8, so they did a 2-hour block of time. Some of it was presentation, and then some of it was kind of group discussion. So we are working on putting together a model. Also, Yarmouth, my counterpart in Yarmouth, the administrator, had his last meeting, and before he left, to provide kind of an overview to the selectmen in Yarmouth, he did a presentation on what it means to kind of address wastewater issues for the town of Yarmouth. And in that presentation, several of the town department heads actually did different components of it. So I think, and I know from the wastewater implementation committee, that there's been a emphasis on how do we improve the education in the community and how do we get that information out. I think this would be, potentially one good piece to consider to do and focus on the boards and committees to try to get that out. So we will probably be floating, once I get a concept, Dave Young was gonna send me kind of the concept and some of the information as to how Dennis did it, but we'll distribute that around and see if we can figure out a night that works and who wants to do the different pieces of the presentation. But I think it makes sense, and certainly it's a large issue that's facing the town, and I think the more we can educate the voters, the more they see things on town meeting floor, they get a better sense for, oh, okay, this is part of the plan. I understand this is the next step in the process. So I think it's worthwhile. We'll get some material and distribute it to the board members.
Okay, good. Can never do enough to try and get us all educated.
Absolutely.
It's important. Angelo, do you have a comment?
Just a comment. I think it would be terrific if we can solve the little issues we have with Chatham and move forward with that piece. But the fact of the matter is, we have to go forward in different areas anyway. We have to continue. We've already, as you said, talked to somebody in Dennis, and there's some reasons for that. We also just approved going after the grant for East Harwich and working with the towns that way on a more environmentally friendly action. So we're not locked in by any means to that, even though working with Chatham, even though I think it's a good thing to do. But we can't afford to get ourselves locked in without having.
Does not cost us much to keep talking.
That you got it.
Okay, good. Anything else, Chris?
Yeah, actually, I did have one last thing. We do have, and I know I sent this afternoon, so it's probably not quite on there yet, but we have a video that was done of Muddy Creek, and I think it was on Friday that they actually took, the way Muddy Creek, the construction is going, is that they took the roadway surface down in order to build the swale system, and they created a kind of a lock system in order to control the flow of water. And they finished on one side, so they lifted up the sheet pilings that they had in there, and so now the Muddy Creek system has a tidal flow as opposed to a stream flow. And there is a video, pretty well done video. No offense to our guys on our channel, but I thought the folks over in Chatham did a great job. So I did ask our folks to put it on. It's on the front page. Excellent.
Great.
So I would encourage, if people want to see what your I was going to say tax dollars. Most of this is grant dollars, but from federal and state government, so it is certainly tax dollars. But, you know, $6 million, people are like, oh, well, what do we get for that? And I think some of these videos kind of show kind of the significance of the nature of the project, and the project is going on, you know, in a timely fashion, so we're very much encouraged.
Yeah, one of the challenges is because the road is closed there and there's nothing else around it. It's not like you can go swim in the ocean to go see it. The average person isn't driving by it on a regular basis. You know, for instance, we're doing some work, when we're doing 137, for instance, a roadway, you know, people who are driving by it to get to see progress. This, I think, one of the only ways to get to show progress is either pictures or video, what have you, so it's very timely. So, it's good. Thank you. Anything else?
No, that concludes my report this evening, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
Selectmen's reports. Anybody? Angelo?
Just a comment, I just this evening got an email about CVAC and them not going forward with the adder because of towns not voting for it. And we also got to see a letter, which was, I thought was quite kind of interesting, in which they apparently brought the situation up, did not vote to go back to talk to the town selectmen boards, and asked for votes of their own people, which was probably a foregone conclusion of an answer. Since they're now done with that, I think it might be worthwhile to suggest that they go back and talk to the selectmen and change some of the ways they go forward. Because I think had they done that, there's a much stronger possibility that they could have gone forward.
Well, there's also the question of where are they going from here?
That's right.
I mean, they're not gonna have a new budget. They're gonna do the old budget basically, or whatever.
It's a very tough budget.
So,
I didn't want to get into the details.
how is that gonna impact us, for
That's right.
instance? You know, those kinds of things. We need to understand
It's
that.
it's time to
You
go
know,
forward.
as far as billing goes and, you know, whatever on the credits or whatever. Okay. Anything else? Linda?
Nothing?
No?
I have one thing. I had a citizen contact me about damage to her property from a snowplow, and she wasn't sure where to go with the information.
Municipal snowplow, or town snowplow,
Yeah.
or, okay, you mean like our mailbox was knocked over, a fence knocked down?
I think it was a
or-
fence.
Okay, I'm assuming,
Yeah, I would encourage, you know, certainly during snowplow operations, damages do occur, mailboxes, fences, things of that nature. They should probably start off with the Department of Public Works, so to call down to highway maintenance. I know I've been in a conversation with Mr. Hooper in regards to a couple, so I did get a call on, I think it was Friday. I did get a call that I kind of worked with him to try to work to resolve. I don't know if it's the same one or if it's a different one, but if you start with him, I would also encourage, like I talked to the lady on Friday, and if it is significant damage, you know, and certainly the town does have insurance and people can file a more formal claim. Certainly most of these things are fairly small dollars, and it's better if we could just resolve issues of mailboxes and such. But if people do have a larger issue and they're not satisfied with what they get from DPW, like in the case on Friday, the lady called and, you know, I chatted with her to try to work through the issues. So, you know, they're always welcome to call administration to, you know, work through those issues too. Okay?
yeah, the other thing is that, you know, a lot of these things are fences and mailboxes and that type of thing. And one of the real reasons to get to us and tell us is so that we can inform the drivers. Sometimes they don't even know they hit something or they're pushing more snow, and because they're pushing snow, you know, it had an effect on something else. They're not even aware of it sometimes. I don't think anybody's running around intentionally trying to do these things. They just happen because it's a snowstorm. So
Right.
it is important to let us know if there's an issue. So,
Yeah,
Angelo?
the other problem is most people don't understand that the road right of way probably is 3 or 4 feet wider than the road, and the odds are pretty strong that that fence and mailbox are on town property. Now, what the town has been doing, because I think it's a nice town, has been trying to help rather than saying, sorry, move your mailbox. So, but the town has been trying to
I
help.
think we did put it on last year on the DPW site. Actually, I found a website out in Missouri where they have certain tactics that people can do, homeowners can do. One simple thing is, you know that the driver is going to come up, and if you dig out a little bit of a space, you can have the snow go into that space as opposed to the driver having to put it on your driveway. So there are little tricks that you can do to kind of help yourself in terms of some of the snow plowing, and I think we still have that video up on the DPW website.
I think you could probably also, if you You know, you can put those little flags that stick up from a mailbox or from, just to give the driver is plowing, it's probably a blizzard, and they need some clues.
They can do the little orange stakes that go
Little
up the
orange
wall.
stakes or something,
Yeah.
You
yeah.
can put Bob out there dressed in orange.
I
He
could
can
put
do
Bob
this.
out there dressed in a Santa suit.
Okay.
She does do that,
I
you
know.
know.
Anybody else? I have one thing, but Jannell, do you have anything else?
I'm
You
all
said?
set,
Okay. We did pass out to you this evening the schedule for the budget here, and not hearing, but meeting, workshop we're gonna have basically on Saturday, February 27th. Starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll make that known to everybody. Talk to the chairman of the finance committee. I will monitor, I guess I'll call it, the morning, and he will take care of the afternoon. If that's okay to everybody. And the main intent there is to keep people on pace. Chris, I thought it would be interesting this year maybe to ask for those departments that have articles to give us
Comment on
their
the
article
articles, too.
first, because usually we don't, and we're running out of time at the end. So if they can quickly make a comment, you know, like 30 seconds or whatever about an article that they have, and then we'll get into budget things.
Sure.
And I assume we'll have the normal documentation we typically have when we're doing these sessions, you know.
Well, we did distribute all the budget information, so you have that in terms of specific questions about specific line items. And I don't know, I'm not sure how well we made out in terms of the departments submitting all their materials. I'll double check on that to see what the status is of getting that material out. But hopefully that will be out. Yeah, we actually, well, this morning our email was down for most of the morning, so we
And we
continue to
will-
have technical issues.
We will be pushing them for the half-hour limits where, you know, where they apply and whatnot, so, I mean, we just have to, otherwise we'll be there till 12 o'clock at night, and everybody gets tired after about 2
One of the things
o'clock.
we have encouraged departments to show up at their specific time, so, and to try to avoid having backlog.
Yep.
We've tried to encourage people, so there
Yep.
hopefully won't be people.
Okay, could I just ask, I'm assuming, we're gonna do it up here?
Yeah, we had a problem with the community center
Yeah,
already
that's what I was gonna ask you.
used the facility.
Yeah, okay. And I guess the next question is, do we wanna do anything for lunch, or just gonna let people run off in different
I
directions?
think we've made provisions for bag lunch, so similar to
Okay.
kind of what we did for the interviews, when the board had interviews throughout the lunch
Okay,
period.
so will we let the finance committee know that as well?
Sure,
somehow,
we will.
just so
We're
they
we're
know.
not feeding them, are we?
Yeah,
On their budget, yeah,
have to.
of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
Everyone who's here.
we're charging their budget.
okay, good.
Okay,
Just one thing, Chris, if you could, just ask the department heads to be prepared, if they have any changes to their budget, that they really need to be prepared to talk about those changes. You know, they're spending twice as much money on this, or this is going down significantly, so that they're prepared to answer those questions. And, you know.
yeah, hopefully we will spend some time reviewing the
Yep.
basic numbers before we get to the meeting, and
But they should be prepared too, and
understand.
if there's a schedule they should have for us, they should have it with them.
Yeah, I think two things to that. I think they're gonna answer the questions that were given to them, so that's not an issue. I think in the budget review that we did internally, you know, we have the percentages, which I think we were able to find a munis format that provided the percentages. So if somebody has a 25% budget increase, you know, I certainly flagged it and said, well, what's this about? So they know that, you know, a question's already been asked, so they shouldn't be surprised. And during my budget review with different departments, I say to people, look, whatever you planned on answering to me, do that as a prelude to what you're gonna be asked, or assume that you're gonna be asked at the secondary level.
But also, I think, making sure that they know that if they're, like on an article, that they want to spend money on something, what is the basis for that money, that they really need to be prepared for that, so that we don't have, well, we'll send it to you next week, or we'll have to get back to you on that. It's not going to be helpful.
Like the radios, for instance.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
the radios.
that's all.
Sure.
It's an explanation.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Do we have an ability to add a table down there maybe? Because just because we have too many finance committee members, or we
Yeah,
have
we
too few
will-
selectmen, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to extend.
And maybe we'll find a couple more
Be
comfortable
nice
chairs,
to
I
make
don't
it
know.
triangular.
There's 9 members of the finance committee?
There's 9 members, but I'm not sure how many, I don't think all the spots are filled.
7 maybe, but there'll be at least 7,
So
so.
I think there'll be 7.
It would also be good if we made this, more of a triangle, so that we're all kind of looking at each other. There's a point where, you know, you're, hi,
Yeah,
Is this
we'll set
televised?
something up.
Or, I mean, is it videoed?
video.
Yes, we do
Should
have
be.
it planned on having videoed.
Anything else?
Yeah, just a comment, I think, just to add to what was just said, if everybody could start with a statement, a concept statement of what they're doing. We're just maintaining the budget and the activities from last year. We're adding in this area, because that's, the concept of what they're doing is as important as the numbers, which are sometimes small numbers.
Well, we also need to make sure we have time for the members to ask questions. I mean, you know, ourselves.
Yeah, I think under what we had, and I appreciate the comment, because I've been trying to drive that message home for the last 2 or 3 department head meetings. Here's how things are gonna unfold, because we've told the department heads, probably back even in December, here's what we think is gonna happen, and, you know, be prepared that it's a half an hour, but spend 20 minutes on making sure you answer all the questions that were asked. But also, let people know, here's where we are, this is what we're doing, to educate folks to what they're asking for.
See, what you don't know is before Sean got distracted by doing the water system, you know, the leak, he was building this little trap door out here that we could just, in 30 minutes, we drop people out.
I'm surprised
that
you didn't
what the
start the
what-
meeting at 6 o'clock in the morning.
We can, do you want to?
I'm up, I think we can do that.
I was going to encourage, you know who I thought did a phenomenal job was Rich Larios on that capital outlay. Boy, he kept people, I got a few comments back there, he was probably too short and too rude, but he kept people to the time spot that he had, so I thought that Rich did a nice job.
We're gonna work to that,
Encourage
we'll
him.
see how we do. Okay, anything else?
I'll say.
We're adjourned, thank you.
Thank you.